The day my parents called me a guest in my own childhood home, something in me snapped. My cousin, Olivia, was sitting at the table, my mother's fine china, the one she never let me touch, laid out just for her. They were laughing, sipping Chardonnay, and talking about her new promotion at the firm where I had once worked my ass off until she stabbed me in the back. I stood there, suitcase in hand, ignored like an old family photo no one wants to frame. My father looked at me and said, "Emma, maybe it's better if you give Olivia some space. She's been through a lot." Oh, the irony. She'd been through a lot? That girl burned my career to ashes and danced on the smoke. I smiled, tight-lipped, polite, lethal. "You're right, Dad. Maybe I should give her space." They didn't notice the way my tone curled at the edges. They didn't notice that I wasn't crying anymore, because by then I'd already decided they were all going to see what choosing her over me would cost. And trust me, it wasn't money. What would you do if your own parents replaced you like an old toy? But let's rewind a bit. You need to know how we got here. I grew up in San Diego in a beige 2-story house with a lemon tree in the backyard and parents who thought love was something you earned with straight A's and polite smiles. My cousin Olivia moved in when we were both 15. Her mom, my aunt, had passed away, and my parents took her in as their own. Except it didn't feel like as their own. It felt like instead of me. Olivia was one of those people who could charm a thunderstorm. She'd smile, and teachers bent rules. Neighbors gave her pies. My mom even gave her my bedroom for the first 2 months because she said Olivia needed comfort. I got the couch and the smell of my dad's beer every night. She'd borrow my clothes, break my things, flirt with every guy I liked, and still, somehow my parents called her such a blessing. At first, I tried to be kind. I really did. I told myself she'd been through trauma and needed family. I shared my things, helped her with her homework, even defended her when she got caught lying to our teachers. But kindness, I learned, is just weakness to the wrong kind of person. By college, she'd taken everything that once made me the good daughter. My parents bragged about her scholarship, her internship, her bright future, while I worked part-time at a diner to pay my tuition because they said they were a little stretched this year. Fast forward to when we both graduated. I landed an assistant position at a mid-sized marketing firm downtown. I was finally proud of something that was mine. I remember coming home one weekend, excited to tell them about it. Before I could even open my mouth, Olivia chimed in, grinning. Perfect hair, perfect timing. Guess what, Aunt Carol and Uncle Mark? I got hired by the same firm. Isn't that amazing? They jumped up, hugging her like she cured cancer. Me? They just said, "Oh, that'll be great. You two can commute together." I wish I could have said I saw it coming, but I didn't. And that's when working with Olivia was like being trapped in a sitcom where the villain wins every episode. She smiled at clients, took credit for my work, and whispered little comments about how I struggled under pressure. She called it helping me grow. And then one day, she accidentally forwarded a private email I'd written to my manager, a harmless rant about office politics to the entire department. Within a week, I was let go for unprofessional behavior, and she got promoted. My parents' reaction? Emma, maybe you should take some responsibility for your actions. Olivia wouldn't do something like that intentionally. That was the first time I didn't argue back because something darker was blooming in me, something patient. Months passed. I picked up freelance work, kept my head down, pretended to forgive. Olivia invited me to her engagement dinner. Yes, she even beat me to that milestone. My parents hosted it, of course. The house looked different that night. My mother's roses were blooming, the chandelier sparkled, and my father's laugh echoed through the halls like everything was perfect. I brought a small gift, a crystal wine decanter wrapped neatly with a ribbon. Everyone thought it was sweet. What they didn't know was that I'd done something inside that gift that would make them regret every choice they've made. I won't say what yet. Let's just say it was poetic. Because when the night ended and the decanter was proudly placed at the center of the dining room, my mother gushing about how thoughtful I'd become, I just smiled. They didn't see the look in my eyes, the calm after a long, silent storm. That night, I walked out of their house knowing I'd finally taken something back. Not revenge, exactly, something better. And by the time they realized what it cost them, it was too late. You ever notice how revenge doesn't always come with fireworks? Sometimes it's quiet, like the low hum before a storm. That's what it felt like after that dinner. Everyone thought I'd turned over a new leaf, that I'd matured. My mom even texted me the next morning saying, "It meant so much that you came, sweetheart." Olivia was so touched. Sweetheart. Funny how that word finally showed up when the damage was already done. But let's rewind again, just a bit, to what came before the decanter. You need to understand what broke me before I could break back. After losing my job, I hit rock bottom. I was sleeping in a shoebox apartment above a laundromat, eating instant noodles and watching Olivia's perfect life unfold on Instagram. The woman posted like her happiness was a brand deal. Family brunch, promotion party, new car from Uncle Mark. Every caption a reminder that I was the family disappointment. Meanwhile, my parents stopped calling. When they did, it was to ask about her. One night, I showed up at their house exhausted from work, just wanting to feel like I still had a home. But as soon as I walked in, I heard laughter. Her laughter. She was sitting at my dad's old recliner, wearing one of my mom's sweaters, showing them photos from some beach trip. My dad looked up, his face froze for half a second like he'd seen a ghost. "Oh, Emma," he said, "we weren't expecting you." Yeah, I noticed. They didn't even have a spare plate set for me. I ended up eating cold pasta alone in the kitchen while they watched a movie in the living room. I think that was the moment I stopped wanting to be loved by them. I just wanted to be remembered. A few months later, I got a call from Olivia, acting like we were still close. She needed help organizing some files for a campaign her new firm was running. She said it'd be good exposure for me. Exposure. The word broke me in half. Still, I said yes. I showed up, worked all weekend, built her entire pitch deck, and by Monday morning, she presented it as her own. Again. But this time, I didn't cry. I watched. I learned. Because revenge isn't just about anger. It's about patience, about precision, about letting them think they've won long enough to forget you're still in the game. That's how I came up with my little gift. See, Olivia had this one flaw. She was obsessed with image. Her entire life revolved around what people thought. Her followers, her bosses, my parents, everyone. I realized that if I couldn't destroy her success, I could destroy her reputation without ever touching her. And that crystal decanter I gave her, it was part of a limited designer collection from a boutique in Santa Monica. Only I didn't buy it from there.
I bought it from a liquidation sale, one that had a little history. Turns out that same boutique had recently been sued after a batch of imported glassware tested positive for trace levels of lead. Nothing deadly, but enough to raise eyebrows if it showed up in a certain kind of report. Now imagine this, your parents proudly serving wine to guests in their fancy new decanter, only to find out weeks later that it's been recalled, that it could have harmed their precious Olivia, their golden child, and that the thoughtful gift came from me? Poetic, right? I didn't need to do much after that. A few anonymous tips to a couple of local health boards, one or two carefully placed screenshots of product recall emails on a public review forum, and the rest took care of itself. The boutique got dragged on social media. My parents panicked when they realized they'd been serving wine in that decanter for weeks. Olivia posted a teary Instagram story about unintentional exposure and the importance of consumer safety. The comments were brutal. People accused her of using fake products for clout, of endangering her guests, of lying about her lifestyle. I didn't say a word. I just watched as the perfect little castle she'd built started cracking, slowly, quietly. My parents called me soon after. My mom sounded shaky. "Emra, did you know anything about this decanter?" I paused, then said, "No, but maybe that's karma for always drinking someone else's wine." Silence. Long, delicious silence. But that wasn't the end. Oh no, that was just the appetizer. Olivia lost a few sponsors. The firm put her on image recovery leave. My parents stopped posting family brunches for a while. And just when they thought the storm had passed, I dropped the real lightning bolt. See, I'd been freelancing quietly for a PR firm by then. Guess who their new client was? Yup, Olivia's company. She didn't know, of course. I worked under an alias. One of my tasks was to handle internal reputation monitoring. Basically, I had access to every single social media draft, every PR note, every internal memo about her case.
So when she tried to rebuild her image with a transparency campaign, I edited one small sentence in her press release, just one, where it said, "I take full responsibility for not verifying the source of the product." I changed it to, "I regret misleading my followers about the product's authenticity." That little tweak turned her apology into a confession. When the release went live, the internet pounced. "She admitted it! Fake influencer! Karma!" By the time they corrected it, the screenshots were everywhere. My parents called again, panicking, begging me to help fix it. I told them I'd see what I could do. I didn't. The next time I visited home, the house felt smaller. The laughter was gone. Olivia wasn't there. Apparently, she'd moved to another city to start fresh. My dad barely spoke. My mom looked older. She served me tea in cheap mugs. The china was gone, the decanter too. I almost felt bad. Almost. She said softly, "Emma, I hope you know we love you. We thought we were doing the right thing." I smiled. "I know, Mom, you were. You taught me exactly how people work." And that's the thing. Revenge didn't make me happy, but it made me free. Now they treat me like I'm radioactive, careful, respectful, afraid to cross me again. Funny how peace can look like fear in someone else's eyes. It's strange the first time you realize you don't crave an apology anymore. You just want silence, the kind that makes them sit with their guilt. That's what I had now. Silence. Long, stretched out, uncomfortable silence between me and my parents. After the incident, as they called it, they stopped inviting family over. No more Sunday brunches, no more wine nights, no more Instagram-perfect smiles around that fancy dining table. Olivia had gone off grid.
My mother told the neighbors she relocated for work. My dad just kept saying, "It's a shame how social media can destroy good people." Sure, Dad, social media. Not greed, not favoritism, not betrayal. The thing is, revenge had done its job. But I wasn't done yet. Because this wasn't just about Olivia. It was about my parents, too. When I was a kid, I used to draw pictures of us. Me, Mom, Dad, the lemon tree in the yard. They always hung Olivia's artwork on the fridge, but mine went into a keepsake box. Translation, the trash. Now, 20 years later, I decided to make them hang my art again. They didn't know it, but every time I came by the house to check on them, I left little reminders. Small, meaningless to anyone else, but enough to twist the knife. The first was a framed photo, a family picture from the old days. I replaced Olivia's face with mine, digitally edited so well that it took weeks before my mom noticed. When she did, she froze, hand shaking, whispering, Did you change this?" I just blinked at her. "No, Mom. That's how it always was, right?" The second thing I did was even subtler. My dad kept this old, password-protected tablet where he tracked family expenses. One day while visiting, I accidentally guessed the password, my birthday. He'd never thought to change it. Inside, I found old transfers. Thousands of dollars sent to Olivia over the years. College tuition, car payments, emergency support. Not a single dime to me. So, I added a little entry. Just one line on the spreadsheet. Reimbursement to Emma for being forgotten. Amount 0.00. The next week, my mom called crying, asking if I'd gone through their finances. I said, "Why would I need to? You never gave me anything to begin with." Click. End call. Months rolled by. I was working steadily now, building a reputation of my own, one that didn't need their approval or Olivia's fake smiles. I was finally doing okay. Until one evening, I got an unexpected call. It was Olivia. Her voice was weak, softer than I remembered. "Lemma," she said, I need your help. You ever get that feeling when your brain just laughs before your mouth does? That was me. Apparently, she'd burned a few too many bridges. The influencer gig had gone cold. She'd moved to Portland, tried to rebrand herself, but sponsors weren't biting. "I can't get hired anywhere," she said. "Your firm has connections. Could you maybe—" I let her talk. Let her dig the hole. Then I said, "Olivia, I think you should ask my parents. They always have a soft spot for you." She went quiet, then whispered, "They stopped talking to me too." There it was. The cost. Still, I wasn't heartless. I agreed to meet her at a small cafe downtown. When she walked in, she looked human. Not the polished, Instagram-perfect Olivia I grew up resenting. She had dark circles, a chipped manicure, and eyes that darted around like she expected someone to film her. We talked. Or rather, she talked. About regret, bad decisions, how she never meant to hurt me. The usual redemption speech. I listened, sipping my coffee. I wasn't angry anymore. But I wasn't forgiving either. Then she said something that nearly made me laugh out loud. "You've always been so lucky, Emma. You're so calm. I wish I had your peace." Lucky. Lucky was losing your job because your cousin sabotaged you. Lucky was telling your own bedroom belonged to someone else. Lucky was the years of quiet resentment she mistook for peace. I smiled and said, "You can have it. But peace has a price. She tilted her head. What do you mean? I leaned in, just enough for her to feel the cold edge in my tone. It cost everything you took from me. And then I stood up, dropped a 20 on the table for my coffee, and walked away. You'd think that'd be the end of it. But life's funny. It loops back. A few weeks later, I got an email from a recruiter. The firm Olivia was applying to had reached out for a reference. Apparently, she'd used me as one. I could have ruined her right there. But I didn't. I wrote the truth. No lies, no venom. Just one clean, polite line. Olivia is ambitious and adaptable, though at times her desire for approval has clouded her judgment. That was enough. Because I knew that in a world where reputation is everything, that one sentence would haunt her applications like a quiet ghost. Fast forward to today. My parents finally reached out again. They want to reconnect. My dad said, family shouldn't hold grudges forever. And I said, you're right, Dad. I'm done holding grudges. I just learned to hold boundaries. He didn't like that answer, but I didn't say it for him. I said it for me. Now when I walk past that old lemon tree in their yard, I still remember everything. The couch nights, the laughter that wasn't for me, the way they looked through me like I was invisible. But I also remember how good it felt to stop chasing people who didn't care if I stayed. They chose my cousin, and I let them see what that cost. Turns out, it wasn't my heart, it was theirs.
You know what's funny about silence? It echoes. The quieter I got, the louder their guilt became. It started small. My mom began sending texts, random ones. Saw your favorite pie at the market today, or remember our old lemon tree? I'd leave her on red. No reply. Just that little delivered check mark hanging in her face like a mirror. Then my dad started calling, missed calls, voicemails, the whole I just want to talk routine. I'd play them sometimes when I couldn't sleep. His voice always cracked near the end. I know we messed up. We love you. Please come by. There was a time that would have broken me. Now, I just thought, good, let it hurt. See, that's the thing about revenge. People think it's an explosion, one big moment where everything burns, but it's not. Real revenge is erosion. It's slow, it's patient, it's watching everything they built crumble, piece by piece, without you lifting another hand. And my parents? They were finally standing in their own ruins. It was a rainy Saturday when I got the call that changed everything. Not from them, no. From a lawyer. Apparently, my parents wanted to update their will. I'd been written out years ago, replaced by, you guessed it, Olivia. But now, they wanted to make things right. I didn't even need to think about it. I said no. The lawyer sounded confused. You don't even want to hear what they're offering? I laughed. I already got what I needed. He didn't get it, but I did. They'd spent years teaching me that love was conditional, that approval had to be earned. And when I finally stopped begging for it, the balance shifted. A few days later, I ran into Olivia again. Of all places, at a grocery store. She looked thinner, worn out. No designer bag this time, just a cart with discount groceries and off-brand cereal. She froze when she saw me, then smiled, that same fake sweetness she'd always worn like armor.
Emma, you look good. I looked down at my cart, fresh produce, organic coffee, things I actually enjoyed buying now that I didn't feel small anymore. I am, I said simply. She swallowed hard. Listen, about everything that happened, I cut her off. Don't. You already said sorry once. You don't need to say it again. She blinked. Do you forgive me? I gave her a half smile. Forgiveness isn't about you, Olivia. It's about me. And I already gave it to myself. That's when she started to tear up. Maybe she really was sorry. Maybe she wasn't. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. That's the thing about peace. It doesn't come when they apologize. It comes when you stop needing them to. But I wasn't done being petty. You remember that lead decanter scandal? The one that nearly tanked her brand? Well, after a few months of silence, she tried to rebrand again, this time as a wellness coach. Yep, wellness. The irony was delicious.
She started a new Instagram talking about healing energy and forgiveness. She even wrote blog posts about overcoming toxic family dynamics. So, I did what any morally gray woman with a Wi-Fi connection would do. I sent her a brand partnership offer from a totally fake PR firm I created overnight. I called it Vital Glow, made a convincing website, designed a sleek fake logo. The deal was simple. Promote our vitamin-infused skincare oil on her channel. All she had to do was use it for 2 weeks, film the results, and tag us. She took it. Of course she did. I mailed her a small bottle filled with, wait for it, lemon juice and olive oil. Nothing harmful, nothing illegal, just petty enough to make her look ridiculous when people realized her miracle product was something you could make in your kitchen for $2. I timed it perfectly. Right when she posted the glowing review, I leaked an anonymous Reddit thread. Influencer caught using DIY lemon oil as skincare. Claims it's a luxury serum. The internet did what it always does. It exploded. Within hours, her new page was flooded with laughing emojis, sarcastic comments, and memes. Is this the same girl who poisoned her family with a lead decanter? One comment said. Ouch. Her wellness brand died before it even began. Did I feel guilty? Not even a little. Because the same people who once thought I was invisible now couldn't stop remembering me. Weeks later, I visited my parents for the first time in years. Not because I missed them, because I wanted closure. The house felt smaller, dimmer. The walls looked tired, like even they were done holding up the lies. My mom hugged me first, trembling. My dad stood behind her, eyes watery. Emma, we're sorry. Truly. We were wrong. I nodded. Yeah, you were. We sat at the table, no fine china this time, just plain plates, mismatched mugs, and there, sitting in the corner of the cabinet, I spotted the old decanter, cracked and empty. I smiled at it, my little symbol of justice. My dad said, we lost touch with Olivia. She doesn't call anymore. I said, guess everyone eventually learns who they are to people. We talked for a while. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't warm. It was just real. Like we were finally acknowledging the ghost in the room. When I stood to leave, my mom asked softly, can we see you again soon? I looked at her for a long time before answering. Maybe. But this time, you'll have to earn it. Now, I've got to ask you something.
If your own family chose someone else over you, would you forgive them? Or would you let them feel the weight of what they lost, like I did? Tell me in the comments, was I wrong for letting karma do the talking, or did they finally get what they deserved? Because I'm still not sure if I got closure or just a perfect ending. Comment below. What would you have done?